Ladies and gentlemen and programmers, we're going to do part one of the piano. All right, the red text means stop. You need to take notes. Green means do something. Purple means there's new code to take a peek at. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is copy the piano code off of the interweb. So what you're going to do is something like this. You're going to go to my website, brianmillershs.weebly.com. You're going to go to programming. You're going to go to lesson 5, and you're going to click right there. And you're going to get to these files and folders. You're going to click here. You're going to download the piano lesson. It's a zip file. So we're going to download that. Once that thing gets downloaded, you're going to click here. You're going to show it in the folder. And you need to get that in your folder with your name on it. So we're going to go to your folder with your name on it. We're going to go to Intro to Programming. And we're going to drag it in there. I've already done it, but you're going to drag it into Intro to Programming. And then you're going to right-click on this. And you're going to go 7-zip extract here. Actually, let's click on Intro to Programming. So we're going to right click on this. We're going to say 7-zip extract here. Click on it. You hit refresh, and then the piano project's going to be here. Then you click on it, and it's going to open up the piano project like this, except for there will be a key in there. Okay, so get that going. All right, and let's keep going. Okay, take a look at the code and see what it does. The question is, look inside this key class and tell me what do you think is going to happen when I put the key in there and hit run. What do you think is going to happen? Okay, what does it do? Write that down in your notes. By the way, your notes should say chapter 5 or lesson 5, the piano at the top. Make sure your name is in there and answer this question. What is that key going to do? Okay, so create an object of class key and place it into the world. Create several of them and place them next to each other. Hit run, press a bunch of keys on the keyboard, and what happens? And the answer is going to be nothing because we haven't programmed it to do anything. There's nothing in the act method yet. Okay, our first task is going to be to animate the piano key. So we want it to be something like this. Hold on, I got to change something real quick. Okay, so basically what we want to have happen is if you hit run, you press the G key on the keyboard, it looks like it's in shadow. It looks like somebody pressed that piano key, right? Okay, so write this down. What's pseudocode and what is it good for? Why do we use pseudocode? And write down the pseudocode in the notes of the act method that will change the image of the key to look like it's depressed when you press the G key. So what's the pseudocode to get that to happen? Write that down in your notes, please. Okay, so here's what I put down for the pseudocode. By the way, the purpose of pseudocode is to figure out the logic of a problem before you have to try to figure out the Java. So that's why we figure out the logic in English. So the pseudocode is, hey, if I'm pressing the G key, then switch to the down image. Otherwise, switch to the up image. Okay? So we're going to implement this. We're going to do this code right here. That's going to look something like this. Okay, so we're going to click on the key class. We're going to go into public key. And we're going to say, in the act method, we're going to say check key press. And then we're going to make the check key press method. If Greenfoot is key down G, set the image to the white. Otherwise, set the image to the white key. So anyway, we took our pseudocode and we turned it into actual Java and figure out if you can try to get that to work like mine. What is it called? Here's a question. What is it called when your act method is just a method call and you put method definitions below? So you ask it to do it in the act method, you teach it how to do it later. What is that called? Okay, so check this out. All right, so yours should go like this. Okay, it appears to be working just fine, right? Looks like it's working perfect so far. We got to add some sound later, but we're not quite there yet. The code will work fine, but it's not efficient. What's wrong with the code we just wrote? Answer that. There's something wrong. See if you can figure out what it is. I'm going to give you a hint. Is we're going to say in the act method, we're going to say check key press, check key press, check key press. It's constantly going over and over and over and over again, asking you to check the key press, right? And in the check key press, we're saying we're asking it to do one of two things. We're either saying, hey, set the image to white key, or set the image to, or we're always asking it, hey, set it to white key down, or set the image to white key up. Okay? So why is that bad? What's wrong with that? See if you can figure out the problem. Okay, so if hopefully you can try to figure it out and puzzle it out what the problem is, even though it appears to be working. But we're going to look at it a different way to see if we can spot the problem. Okay, so we're going to add the play method. So I want you guys to add this method right here. I want you to add the play method. Greenfoot. And by the way, make sure you add the method comment. So click right here and go edit, add method comment. But at any rate, add the play method. right? And then also, well, let's do that for now. And so once you get that in, it should go like this. So if I right-click, no, if I right-click and I say play, it'll play the sound. Okay, it's played the note 3a.wave once. By the way, 3a.wave is somebody already put that in the sounds folder for you. Okay, so try to invoke it and get it to do that. Okay, so now let's do it the right way, whereas if you're pressing the G key, it'll play. So let's go like this. So we're going to grab this, and so if the key is down, we're going to type in play. We're going to compile that and see what happens. Let's watch what happens when we put that in. Okay, so I'm going to add a key in. I'm going to hit play. I'm going to press the G key. Ooh, what happened? What's going on? What unexpected thing is happening? What unexpected thing is happening? Well, here's what's happening is no matter what, it's either setting the image to the white key down or it's setting it to the up. So if we're pressing the G key, it's constantly, hey, set it to the down and set it to the down image. It already was set to the down image, but you're resetting it to the down image. And that's causing a lot of the processor to do a lot of extra work that it didn't need to. What's it also doing? It's playing. It's playing the sound over and over. Same thing. Even if I'm not pressing the G key, it's constantly setting it back up to the white image. So even if it right now, even when I'm doing nothing, it's constantly resetting this thing to the up image, wasting all kinds of resources, right? So, and if you did that on a large scale, your project would crash because you're going to be overwhelming the resources. So the problem is, it looks like it's working fine, but it's not efficient. What's wrong with the code we just wrote now? It's switching to the up image constantly or switching to the down image constantly. And when we press the G key, not only is it switching to the down image constantly, but it's playing the sound over and over again. Okay, what was wrong with it before? Well, it wasn't playing the note over and over again, but it was definitely switching the image constantly, and that is wasteful. Okay, this works, but we're constantly switching the image every time the act method runs if we need to or not. And we are playing the sound over and over again. Why is this bad? It wastes resources. Okay, so what I want you to do is try to figure out some pseudocode that will help us to figure out this problem. So in your notes, write down pseudocode for a possible solution to this problem. See if you can figure out how to fix it so it's not constantly playing the sound. Okay? All right, let's move on. Hit pause, do that, and then we'll move on. Okay, so here's a solution that we're going to try to execute in a little bit. Is we're going to create a Boolean instance variable that keeps track if the keyboard is currently down or not. So it's called a flag because it tells us, hey, it's already down. So you can use that information like, hey, is the key already down? Yes or no. We can use that information to make a decision whether we want to play the sound. Okay, so we're going to write the code private Boolean is down. And then we're going to have a constructor that's going to set is down equal to false. So when we first get started, the key is not down, right? So let's see how it looks like it's not down. So we keep track of that with our instance variable, and in our constructor, we're going to say is down is false. We're going to store true in this while the piano key is down and false while it isn't. Okay, so here's the quiz. So the quiz question is this. If we created our Boolean flag called is down, and it said false, which would mean the image was up, right? So is down is false, the image is up, and somebody pressed the G key, what do you want to happen? Okay, if the is down Boolean instance variable is false, so the image would look like this, it's up, and the G key is not being pressed, what happens? Okay, so if is down is now true, which would mean the image would be darkened, so it's already down, is down is true, and then somebody pressed the G key, what would happen? And if is down is true, the image is darkened, and nobody's pressing nothing, the G key is not being pressed, what would happen? Okay, the next quiz question is, what is a Boolean flag? And how many different possibilities are there with these two variables? We have is down and the G key being pressed or not. How many variables are there? Well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 options. That's for me. I just answered it for you. Okay, so if is down is false and the G key is being pressed, it's going to play the sound and switch to the down image. If the is down is false and nothing's being pressed, nothing should happen. If is down is true, the image is already dark, and the G key is being pressed, what should happen? Nothing. We shouldn't switch the image. If it's true and nothing's being pressed, we should switch back to this image. How many conditions have to be met? Both. False and the G key being pressed is true. Okay, so we have two conditions that have to be met to do anything, two conditions that have to be met to do something. So if you, of the four possibilities above, how many times do we actually do something? Okay, so, well, the answer is 2 times. Right here we do something, we switch to the down image and we play the sound, and then on this one we just switch back to the up image. How many times do we do nothing? 1, 2. Okay, so that's it for day 1. Make sure you get those notes done. Get ready for the oral quiz that I'm going to do later.